On this episode of 47 Motorsports, we're going to attempt to take this Mark II Golf, which hasn't moved since January, all the way to Tipperary, which is an 8-hour round trip, 400-mile round trip, with an engine that hasn't moved in 3 years. There's a Mark II meet on that we really want to go to, so we thought, why not? But the meet is in 2 weeks' time, and I'm not going to have time to test drive it. So let's hope it works. To do this, we're going to have to reintroduce a friend of the channel, which you might see in the corner because this is recorded later, that you haven't seen for quite some time. Let's get started.
So, for those of you who don't remember, this is Debbie. She was my 1.9 TDI daily driver that I've featured on the channel quite a few times. She had sign riding, we lowered her, and I drove it every day up and down the motorway for a few years, until eventually the gearbox packed in, and she got parked up. And then whenever I replaced the gearbox, it wasn't right, and then I found some rot, and really she just got parked up. So, knowing the engine is a good healthy one, I've decided I'm going to rip it out and stick it into Veronica. At this point, it's really the quickest way to guarantee we're going to get her going again. So the first port of call is to take the gearbox off. The gearbox that didn't work. I'm going to give this to Ryan because he's going to take the 5th gear out of it for his T4. Then we're going to strip down Veronica, take her old engine out, swap the old gearbox onto the new engine and stick it all back in and hope it works. Yes, I know, it's convoluted. It's worth it when you're this far in to take care of any little odd jobs that you have when you're in here. Such as I want to massage the chassis leg because the crank pulley kept hitting it and the spacers I wasn't overly happy with. And there was a steering boot in here that I noticed had kind of split and wasn't quite right, so now's the time. Lastly, it was time to swap the clutch over before I put the gearbox back on. And thankfully at this point in the day, my helper came along to give me a hand.
So yeah, people are probably going to ask why aren't I putting a new clutch in, and that's because this clutch has about 300 miles if even. Pro tip though, if you're putting a clutch in and I haven't done one of these in a long time, but there's two sides on your flywheel or your clutch. There's a flat bit and a bit that sticks out. And the way to remember which side you should do it is always flat to flywheel, so that's how you know it's meant to go that way. Pro tip for you. You're welcome, you can keep that one, that's just for you. So Shay, behind the camera is Shay. You may have seen him in the E36 video. Shay is one of the people who is going to be coming along on this road trip. How optimistic are you, given that you were watching me fit an engine to the car?
The main thing is you're getting someone.
Listen,
with bolts going in.
I'm so good at Mark II Golfs compared to Volkswagen that I can actually put a Mark II Golf back together with less bolts than it needed when it was new. Just saying. Not everyone can say that.
Yes.
Tell me you didn't fit a fucking clutch with a hammer. Right. So now we need to make sure our clutch is lined up, and there are a few different ways to do this. The getaway is the way I'm going to do it because I don't have a clutch alignment tool. Although Dad says there is one, I don't know where it is. So what I'm going to do is get some sockets and an extension, and I'm going to just going to whiz these up a bit. I'm going to basically make one with whatever size needed. And because we are fitting the gearbox outside of the car versus in the car, I'm going to know very quickly whether it's lined up or not, realistically. I've looked for about 30 seconds and I couldn't see one, so
That's enough of that.
that's enough. It's about basically finding a socket that's around the right size.
Aye, that one.
Yeah. Right, that's now in the engine there. So, tighten it all up.
The torque specs using for this?
2 Ugga-Duggas.
Nice. Crank that baby.
Crank that fucking soldier boy.
You.
So, new, old engine is in, and if it looks the exact same as the other one, well, first of all, you cheeky shit, because I had much cleaner parts on it, but no, I've swapped a load of stuff over from the other one, the rocker cover and stuff like that, just to make it look a bit more presentable, because it is going to a show after all, but I'm not going to bother faffing and painting and all that until it's in and running and everything's sorted. So now it's just a case of connecting everything back up and turning the key. Things are happening, that's good. Oh, what's the tick, 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 tick? It's like a... Yeah, it's the boost solenoid. That's fine. Can't really be counted. Time is okay. Still no diesel coming. Although, look, there's a bit more coming out now. Right up. After what turned out to be a dodgy fuel cut-off solenoid, we had life. Well, we had life for a couple of minutes. Because after a couple of minutes of running, one of the belts stripped itself and then threw itself all around the place, breaking the other belt. What a disaster. One thing after another, right? After a bit of looking, we realised that the pulleys weren't quite lining up properly, so to be safe, I took the alternator from the other engine, and then I remembered in the corner of the yard somewhere, behind some three-wheelers, don't ask, I had a spare TDI that had been sitting in the corner for years, and the crank pulley in it had never been off. So I thought to be safe, I'd go into the corner and take the crank pulley off of it, as well as the power steering pulley, and hope it all lines up. While I did this, Dad realised that the bushing on the tensioner arm was also in really bad condition, so he hammered it out and then made a new one out of copper. And at last, for the first time in months, this car had a working, happy and relatively healthy sounding engine, and as you can see, the pulleys all line up perfectly. So I decided to get the old laptop out and plug it in with VCDS, or VAGCOM to you and me. I finally bought the full version so I could check TDI timing. Although the weird thing is, whenever I plugged it into this and went to actually check the timing, it said the timing was so far advanced that it couldn't possibly be plotted. Now, to be honest, the engine was running fine, so I wasn't going to take any chances. There was no smoke and no issues, so I thought, screw it, we'll worry about the timing some other time. Ha, pardon the pun. But finally, after a mammoth amount of work in the middle of trying to build a Subaru, which you can see in the garage there, more on that another time, Veronica was finally ready to embark on her first car show in over 6 years. Granted, she wasn't fully up to scratch, there were a lot of things not finished yet, but we didn't care because me and my two best mates who helped me build it were about to embark on a journey over 8 hours and 400 miles long in a car that hadn't seen the road since January with an engine that hadn't moved in 3 years. Oh boy.
Hurts my fucking eyes.
Then all the YouTube people see all the fucking warning lights on the dash.
Fucking flashing like Christmas tree. How's your handbrake on?
No, it's no time. I couldn't get cables. Nobody knows what one's fit. I tried 4 different sizes of cables on this car and none of them will fit. It's fucking ridiculous, don't matter, like. I'll leave it up all the time just to make people amazing. Yeah, have no choice. Have a starter motor and you're going to use the job.
On our first stop, we came across a lovely Mark III with a TDI as well, and I realised that the bonnet wouldn't close.
It just goes to show how much force you do actually need though. If I've jumped on that bonnet 3 times and it didn't close. So who are I? Hello.
Sure, that's the way it was out from factory too.
This car has been like this for fucking years, like.
What the fuck? That's literally the walkway there, Marshall.
That's the wee ramp into the space.
That's so Irish. Yeah.
Fuck, that is a 500 it's left-hand drive as well. Holy fuck.
Far away, are we?
2 man chorus.
2 mile Boris.
And of course, we saw some gorgeous cars along the way, like an FD RX-7, the 500e we saw earlier, and naturally, some Mark IIs on their way to the meet.
Full handbrake.
Good one. Fuck yeah!
Eventually, and probably amazingly, we made it.
See the wee fucking the door there inside of it for his pets to get in.
We holding on it.
Nobody wants to park beside him. Ooh. Is that an M3?
That's ready 330.
Didn't sound like an M3.
Didn't.
No point locking it, like. No one's gonna take it.
Well, we made it. Somehow, we made it. There are a lot of other Mark IIs. We haven't just been banished to this corner, but let's get drunk. Well, we made it somehow. Hopefully we'll make it home. In typical Irish fashion, it's absolutely fucking pissing it down, but fair play to everybody who actually showed up, even though, well, most people probably wouldn't take their cars out in this weather. Big thank you to the two fellas behind the camera who helped me build this car and get it here in the first place. You did the best. Big thanks to everybody who organised the event. This has been a lot of fun. We will be back next year, and hopefully I won't have to build a car the week before. Big thank you to everybody. Check out the All Ireland Mark II Golf Owners Club if you're into that sort of thing, or if you're from here and you're not at it already, go and check it out. I've been Tomo. This is 47 Motorsports. Thanks very much for watching, and see you in the next one. Good luck.